My first love, like my first man that I ever encountered with, did everything with, was supposed to be my husband, but I was the one that messed it up. Now, God revealed this to me right after I got saved, and He revealed this to me in a dream. And I haven't talked to my first love in like, it has probably been over 7 years, going on 8 years since I last talked to him. Now,
Hold up, hold up, hold up. I hate to stop it this early, but the the caption is God introduced me to my husband, but the enemy ruined it. First, like this, the title lacks accountability. It's already blaming it on somebody else. It's in someone else's hands. It couldn't have been anything you did. And do I hear a baby in the background? And it's been 7, 8 years since you talked to this guy. Let's go.
when I was with him, I was with him for about 7 years, and he was like my childhood boyfriend. And I got with him when I was 13. Yes, I was young, and then we broke up at 18. And then we reconnected when I was 21, and we stopped talking it when I was 22. And when I was 22, he was trying to marry me, and I didn't want to get married. I got scared. And just a little background with me and him, he got saved within the middle of our relationship. He found God in the middle of our relationship, and he used to tell me about what the information and the new knowledge that he was getting, and at the time I didn't want to hear it.
Hmm. Because when you, that's a good point right there. Because a lot of times people don't be growing with us, and when you meet somebody that young, you're 13, wow, and then y'all together till you're 18. So many things happen in your life as far as the changes you're going through from 18, excuse me, from 13 to 18, let alone 18 to 22. And it goes on and on. So for him to find God in his young life where he could be doing a whole lot of different things, but he went to church, I'm assuming. And when you're not into that, you don't really want to hear that. You're just getting started. You're trying to figure things out, and you're not trying to be the one. You're not trying to, because it feels like a cage to some people. There's all these rules, regulations, discipline. Thou shall do and thou shall not. And a guideline that you walk by. And as a young person, it's just hard for young people just to follow simple instructions, let alone try to follow the Bible or the Quran.
But my focus was worldly. I wanted to party. I wanted to be with my friends. And then at that time, like, it was like a tug of war with me and him. Like, he was fighting for me, but I was like trying to go astray, kinda. And when we reconnected when I was 21, 22, we were going to church together, and then we were supposed to come up with like a courtingship with the elder, and I ended up bailing. And then right after that, I had a baby. And at that time, like, I just thought that he was just boring and he didn't want to do nothing. He only wanted to go to church. He didn't want to go out or travel or do anything that I wanted to do with at my young tender mind, at my young tender age. And really, I regret it, because I'm 28 now, and like, the problems that we were having weren't problems that I had with other men.
Hmm. See, sometimes, like when people first get into whatever religion they into, they just start like, and they really feel it, they really believe it, and you got to be in it to understand it. If it's new to you, and it's like you never see nobody like go through all these changes, they feel whatever they feel, it can be scary because they don't want to do anything because they don't want to take their mind off God. And it's everything God this, God that. And if you didn't grow up that way, it starts to turn you off. It starts to turn you off. It's not a bad thing, but if Like for instance, right now she's 28, and now she's looking back on things and she understand life more. She got more life experience. She done went out there and met the bad guys. It's like when you get your first car. Imagine your first car being a Mercedes Benz and you don't know how to park. You done scratched the rims all up trying to parallel park and all kinds of things. If you would have went through the hoopty phase and learn how to take care of that, when you get a new car, you know how to treat it. It's no different than, getting into bad relationships growing up, and then you gotta, in some cases, have bad relationships in order to appreciate good relationships, like having bad times, appreciating good times. So, like, I mean, I don't. I want to see where this story going, but I don't. It's not. Maybe that was your hoopty in a sense, because maybe the next guy you meet might be the guy you appreciate. And because, like, it's not for everybody. Everybody, the way people walk in their faith is different. And sometimes we try to impose our faith on other people. And the same way you found faith, that other person got to find a faith on their own. You can't impose it on them, because it's not genuine. Then they feel like they're in a box or your prison. It's no different than anything that you're into. It could be politics or a way of thinking. When it comes to everything, you put people in boxes and jails and they feel like they can't figure it out for themselves because you're trying to feed it to them. And like, I have religious beliefs, and I don't impose it on the people around me, and but it's in the things that I do, the things that I eat, the things that I don't eat, the way I treat people, the days I don't eat, the things I don't celebrate versus the things that everybody else celebrate. But I let my light shine in the sense too. If somebody curious, they'll come to me and ask, I see you do this, I see you do that, I see you don't do that. And then I'll explain more. But the people around me, I don't try to superimpose it on them, because that's not the way I found it. And maybe that's the way she felt.
Like, he was the first man that would ever like pray for me, that ever like talk about God. Like, he was the first and only man that like wanted God to be in the center of our relationship. And that was really a blessing, but I took it for granted, and I thought that it was something better out here. Me being too selfish and too worldly. And of course I had a baby with another man or whatever, not with him, but I just regret.
Wait a minute. No, 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 no. You're not going to escape past that. So y'all was together. So see, now you got to read between the lines. It was that she wanted to do everything else. So don't say the devil ruined it. It's free will. Again, I'm going to say this, man. All life is trial and error. Don't be too hard on yourself. All life is trial and error, yo. Hence civilization. We try things, see what works. No different than when they built the plane, when they made the wheel, when we found out how to harness electricity. Everything you see, everything you look at, from the buildings to the houses to the roads to everything you do, is trial and error. Everything consists of trial and error to get us to this point. And that's all life is. And you can't fault yourself going through trial and error. Some people, good people, is only come once in a lifetime. And it is what it is. And you can learn from it. Maybe this situation happens so when you have a daughter or a son, that you could teach them about God, so they'll have the seed planted early, so when somebody come along walking in God's path, it won't be a turn off to them.
And like, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was watching a video about Tia and Tamera. Well, the famous twins, Tamera, she divorced her husband, and it just seemed like she's spiraling, and she regret her decision. And that's like reminds me of me. Like, I regret my decision. And I know that I'm making this video also is because I know that it's women out there that be like, oh, I want a man that's going to do this, that, and the third, that's going to pay for this and pay for that. Don't you want a man that's going to pray for you? Like, you should want a man that wants to pray for you, that know God, that want God to be in the center, that want to marry you without a doubt. And like a lot of us got it messed up, and it's really the enemy that made me go astray from him, because he knew that that was my, like, that was sent by God. Like he was supposed to be my husband, and I didn't have to go from men to men to men from man to man to find him. It was just like right there, like God sent him first.
You know, this the problem I have. I think a lot of times, and y'all gonna kill me for this one, but we be giving credit and giving blame when it just all cause and effect. It's just simple decisions. It's just that. Yeah, the Most High is there governing all. But you can't sit here and be like, God this, God that, when a little kid get hit by a bullet, get hit by a car and die. But you think he worried about your relationship? Like he's that minute? I'm not saying that he's not, but it kind of like, I just don't get with that type of thinking, man. You made mistakes. You made choices. You met a person, he wasn't the right person. You met another person, he wasn't the right person. You met a person, he wasn't the right person. If we want to be biblically, you know, your father would pick your husband for you. He would pay the dowry. He would do all these things, right? But that's not the society that we live in. And I don't really think a lot of you young women who may be talking like her really want to live in that type of society. It's a balance. Ain't no do-overs. Ain't no time machines. Like the fact that you making this video, you're 28, you met him when you was 13, you broke up with him 10 years ago when you was 18, you had another kid and y'all tried it, whatever the case may be. Let it go. Let it go. You can't move forward if you're looking in your rear view. You'll walk right past the man that God really had for you. How do you know that if he wasn't there to prepare you for that man? It's like a job application when you apply for a new one, you with your job experience. So now you got some experience. You've been introduced. Now it's time for you to take your walk. You can't base it on a man. You got to do your walk. You got to go learn. What if the man you meet ain't a teacher? All men are not teachers. So he can't teach you the word. Go learn the word. And when you and that man meet, so here's the thing. You put yourself in a situation where you can find that man. If you're a Muslim, go to the mosque. If you're a Christian, go to the church. You're Israelite, you're a Jew, go to the synagogue. Go to the temple. You will find that person that practice what you practice. But I think one era when it comes to this, right? And everybody based the whole relationship just on religious practices, right? Like that's the only thing they got in common. It's other stuff that goes into a relationship other than religion and what you believe. How is this person with bills? How do he treat his kids? It's people that believe in God, but everything else is messed up. How they say faith without works. So, yeah, you want somebody to pray for you. Yeah, you want somebody to believe. How much do you want them to believe? Do you want them locked into prayer all day and not doing anything, just waiting on the world to end? Or do you want them out here believing, carrying themselves a certain type of way? It's different levels to it. Be careful what you wish for. It's a balance. But that can't be the only thing you have in common with a man or a woman. To put a little bit of my business out there, me and my wife, who I love to death, we don't have the same belief practices. It's similar, but they're different. That's not a point of contention because it's other things that we 100% on. You see on Facebook and these groups where people just try to commingle based on their religion and they fizzle out. It'd be some lucky people who might connect more dots and it might work out. But then there's those that it just don't, because it's just based on the belief. Then when you get in the belief that I interpret it this way and you interpret it that way, then boom.
And the enemy got in my mind, and of course outside people was like, oh, you're not gonna end up being with him. You need to explore. You need to find out if that's really what you want. And I'm here to tell you, if you have a God-fearing man, a man that's going to pray for you when things is hard, you got a good man. Regardless.
All right. I don't really disagree with you. I really don't. But like praying when you could pray, like, don't just pray when stuff is hard. Pray when stuff is good. That's the man you want. You want the man that when times are hard, he ain't just on his knees praying. He out moving and shaking. It's a balance. And trust me, I believe in the Most High. I do. But you got to be out here moving and shaking. There's a time for everything. You don't just pray when times are bad. You pray when times are good. You give thanks all the time. And she's on to something. And this is not against her. You know, I think that I don't like God introduced me to my husband, but the enemy ruined it. I think it was you who made decisions. And it's okay. He's not the only guy. It didn't work out. That guy is probably with somebody married, and you 8 years later, 10 years later, making a video about this man. Move on. You have to let it go. Imagine the new dude who like you and he see this video. He like, man, she got baggage. No man want to come in there trying to fill the shoes of another man. He don't. No matter what religion he is. No matter what religion he is. I wish we lived in a world where I could go pick the guy for my daughters and say, this is the one. But we don't live in that society. We don't. People split off into little groups and try to do that, and then you see the weird stuff that happens in those groups. Not all of them, but it happens. So it really don't work. Nothing is foolproof, right? But overall, we don't live in that type of society here in the West. So every situation gonna be similar to hers, unless you coming up in the church. And then there's that when it comes to all the other goofy stuff that happens in that. Is people in church, that's all they can't do nothing else, because they think if they look away for 1 second, God going to come get everybody and leave them behind. They won't do nothing in their lives. Not all. Don't get it twisted. No disrespect. Don't come for me. But it's some. But it's some people who master the balance with their faith, career, and everything else. It is a balance. And sometimes the only thing that is a plus to get somebody who believes the same way you are, and then they really walking in it, but they still doing everything else too.
Other situation, if you want a man with a bigger bag, help him get a bigger bag. Like, it's really nobody out here for real that's like that. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just coming on here to say, if don't leave your man for 10% of what he don't got. It's not worth it. You don't want to be like me, like feeling like you missed the opportunity. And I don't know if he might come across this video, but I'm sorry. I didn't know no better. I was worldly. I was of this world. I loved this world too much at one point in my life. And I've changed. Like, I realized he who loves the world don't love God, period. So, like, don't leave your husband for a situationship or a boyfriend. It's not worth it.
Oh, I see what's going on here. You got a pretty little baby in the back. I see a little forehead just chilling in the back. It's nice when you just take inventory of your life and just reflect. Did y'all catch the same thing I caught out of the conclusion at the end? She made a comparison of a husband and a situationship. The situationship may be the kid's father, who's probably not in the picture, and who, before she said that, I was about to pause and recommend that that's who you need to fix things with, because now you have a family, Miss Biblical. But he wasn't the guy. He was the guy that you gave a child to, and she's probably a beautiful little girl. Ah, look, I ain't even going to like turn this into a like. I'm not going to kick no rocks at this young lady. I respect the fact that regardless of the title now, the apology, accountability, I did somebody messed up as a teenager, and I had the opportunity to apologize to that person too. So like I respect that. My hat off to you, but I don't know. When I first saw this title, like God introduced you to my husband, but the enemy ruined it. I get it now, but like, just don't be too hard on yourself, man. Let it go. Move forward. Take care of yourself. I'm gonna say this, right? Keep your resume updated, and that's across the board, men and women. And what do I mean by that? Take care of your health. Look good. Do what you gotta do. There's windows of opportunity. There are windows, they close. So you have to be ready when it comes. You don't know when it's going to come. So take care of yourself. Work on your life. Work on yourself. Build yourself. Be the person you're trying to attract. It's just that simple. And you're going to make mistakes, man. So hey, nothing wrong with reflecting on things, but don't be too hard on yourself. And that's all I got to say.